My goal is to help 1,000 real estate agents make $1 million per year. There's a few reasons why I'm sharing this with you, which is number one, I'm getting asked a very specific question that I'm going to share with you in a second that leads me to believe that most agents don't actually have big enough goals or goals that are in alignment with what I believe they're actually looking for out of life. The second thing is I want to explain to you the different stages of goals, because we're going to dive into how to properly set goals, how to reverse engineer it so that you can work towards, in a very strategic way, achieving your goals. And then the last part, number three, is I'm going to actually break down my plan, my 4-step process of how I'm going to help 1,000 agents make over $1 million per year. What's up, guys? It's Mike Sherrard with eXp Realty. And if you don't know who I am, I train thousands of agents every single year to scale their business the modern way. And I'm really excited to dive into this. So let me just preface by saying the question that I've been getting asked a lot of times. And this is most frequently coming from the about 8 agents a day that are booking directly into my calendar to talk about joining our group at eXp, which is the Wolf Pack. And what's happening is a lot of people are saying, Mike, you're 29 years old at the time of this recording and you're making, multiple 7 figures a year. When are you going to check out? A lot of people are saying, well, if you're giving me all this support, one-on-one support, coaching, mentorship, and all this stuff, when are you going to check out? Because people's fear is that I'm not going to be there to help them at some point because I'm at a certain income level. So let me help you understand a couple things, and then I'm going to back into the different stages of goal setting to give you some different context as to where I'm at in life. So the first thing that I really want you to understand that most people don't is that if you ever check out, that, in my opinion, means that your goals were not big enough. So for example, there is a big difference between personal success and real success. Personal success is, yeah, it's cool. I've made a couple $1 million per year. I've got the car, I've got the penthouse, I've got some of the stuff that I've always wanted, which is cool for me. But the problem is that most of my friends don't have that. The problem is most of my family doesn't have that, and they still have to work. The problem is that there's agents in my organization that do not have that yet. Keyword yet. And I think that's what people need to understand who are asking this question, when are you going to check out, is that if you want to check out, that means that you're basically just setting selfish goals. Because yeah, it's all fine and dandy that I've done what I've done, but now the goal is how many more people can I get across the finish line so that they can enjoy the life with me and be able to set themselves financially free and get everything that they wanted out of life. Because that's where the fun is. I can tell you from experience that once you hit a certain income level, you realize that it's cool to, get the watch or get the car, or get the house or whatever the situation is, travel, things like that. But that quickly dies off. And I'm going to explain something for a second. Let's say you get, you're driving a Toyota and then suddenly you get a BMW. Well, for the first month or so, first few weeks, it's super cool. You feel like a rock star. And then suddenly it becomes your norm to drive a BMW because you do it every day. So it's no longer that special because it's become normalized. Well, when you go from a BMW to a Lamborghini, the exact same thing happens. Most people don't believe that yet, but it is true, is that you're going to drive the car. It still feels cool to get out, but it's not that cool. It's a nice car and it's fun and it's a nice little kind of break whenever I need some from work. But at the end of the day, I now have the choice to drive it every single day if I want. It's no longer that, crazy poster type thing, because now it's the norm and there's always going to be something more. So let me explain the different stages of goals, because I want you to understand how to sequentially plan your goals, how to reverse engineer it, and then my plan to execute on it. So there's a multitude of different stages of goals. You've got short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals, lifetime goals, and afterlife goals. And let me explain, most people aren't thinking about the lifetime and the afterlife goals. And this is where they get stuck. So let's put a time frame to some of these. Short term, this is going to be a 3-month window, a quarter of a year. Okay. Midterm goals is going to be 1 year, 12 months. Long-term goals, in my opinion, is going to be that 5 to 10 year range, right? And the reason why I say 5 to 10 years, I see people that say, Mike, here's my 5-year plan and my 10-year plan. Listen, you have no control over what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years. So you might as well just make it a 5-year plan and then do another 5 years after that. So let's just say it's a 5-year plan. Then you've got the lifetime goals. Again, this obviously depends on the age that you're at. So if you're, on the older side, this might be the next 20 years of your life. Or if you're younger, it might be the next 30 or 40 years of your life, even 50 years of your life. And then the afterlife goals is the legacy, the generational wealth, the impact that you made on people and at scale around the world. So let me break down sort of an example from a realtor's perspective, and then how this goal of mine came about. So most realtors are going to say, okay, I want to do 50 deals this year. Okay, cool. That's going to be, your midterm goal, your 1 year goal. Now, what you want to do is then reverse engineer that in two different ways, forwards and backwards. Backwards saying, I'm going to now set a quarterly goal, a 12-week goal, and say, is this, based on what I achieve in the next quarter, going to put me on track to do 50 deals this year? Then what you want to do is take the quarterly goals and reverse engineer into daily activities that you can do. That's fine. Well, going the other way, you want to just loosely say, based on hitting 50 deals a year, which is my midterm goal for 1 year, is that going to put me on track for maybe the bigger goal that I have, the long-term goal of 5 years, of getting the car, getting the house, traveling certain places, or whatever you've always wanted. But that's where most realtors stop, or entrepreneurs in general, is they stop at the long-term goals. They don't look at the lifetime and afterlife goals. So what's happening is I've achieved the material things that I want within reason, more or less, but there's always better stuff, and it just is what it is. It's not fulfilling. It's really cool. It's nice to have, but it's not going to make you fulfilled for the rest of your life. So then what? So that's where it starts to come back to impact. That's where it says, okay, you've achieved all of this based on the skill sets you've developed. Well, it's selfish if you just keep that to yourself and keep planning personal goals just for you. Now, how many other people can you help get across the finish line and change their lives with the skill sets that you've developed? That is impact and selfless goals, which is now the stage that I'm at, which is more that lifetime goals. Of course, I still have quarterly, annual, and 5-year goals, and from the selfish perspective, making 100 million and things like that. But the one that is impactful, the one that is fulfilling, the one that keeps me driven every single day to be doing everything that I do for 16 hours a day in this freaking office is the helping 1,000 agents make $1 million per year. Because it's nice that I get to drive that car, except when nobody else can. It's cool when I get to go on these trips when some people can't afford it. It's cool that I get to live where I do when my other friends can't afford that. That's not cool at all. And I can tell you that from experience. So I want to help all of my friends and business partners get to the point where I am so we can all live this beautiful life because they've all deserved it. Now, the last thing I'm going to say before I talk about my 4-step strategy is something that might rub people a little bit the wrong way, and that is just a fact. So unfortunately, this upsets you. It just is what it is. But the reality of it is that you cannot change somebody's life by helping them buy or sell a house. There's a lot of people that tell me, Mike, I get into real estate because I want to help change lives. Well, that's great. I love that you're leading with impact, but you cannot change a life by helping them buy or sell a house. You can make them happy. You can make them really excited. You can make their month, their day, their year, but you can't change their life. It's helping them buy or sell a house. Like, it's nice. It's good that you did a good job, but you're never going to change somebody's life by doing that. So for me, that's why it's how many agents' lives can I change, because you can change an agent's life based on helping them achieve certain goals, building certain momentum, and allowing them to have financial freedom in both time and money. So now let's dive into my 4-step process. Number 1 is helping agents increase their production in a scalable way that creates leverage. So in the beginning, we're gonna have to focus on active income because that's how most agents need to put food on the table, pay for the bills, things like that. And then we'll get into the other side after this. So focusing on the active income, it's cool to go from 50 to 75 deals, or 25 to 50 deals, or 5 to 25 deals. But the problem is that most agents are doing that in a way that is not scalable. It does not create leverage, because in order to go from 50 to 75 by prospecting, you have to invest more time into your business in an equal amount in order to get to 75 deals. You have to put another 50% into your business time-wise to scale, because it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Whereas where I excel and where I've been able to help agents is by helping them leverage strategies like YouTube and like social media, where they can spend less time while simultaneously increasing their production to allow them to have more time to spend with their family, friends, passions, and hobbies, or to reinvest that time back into different aspects of the business that I'm going to talk about in a second here. But step number one is helping as many agents as possible increase their production to the point that they don't have to worry about money in a scalable way that's going to allow them to create leverage of their time and money. Number two is helping agents actually create wealth. Okay, so let's dive into another thing that is going to rub some people some wrong way, but it just, again, is a fact. Wealth requires four things, hence the wealth quadrant: duplication, equity ownership, passive or residual income, multiple streams of income. Okay, this is the same reason why people invest into real estate, because you have duplication of doors, passive or residual income, multiple streams of income, and equity ownership in properties. Okay, well, at a traditional brokerage, you cannot create wealth by the nature of being an agent because you have none. You have one income stream that requires your time invested in creating it. That is 0 components of the wealth quadrant. So now what I want to do is help agents start to build these additional income streams, have equity ownership in their business, and start to build up that residual component, because that residual component is what's going to allow them to create the time freedom. Because when you look at a flexible lifestyle, whether it be spending more time with your friends, your family, your kids, your spouse, whatever, you need two things: money freedom, time freedom. You can make money freedom at any brokerage, but you cannot create time freedom if you have one income stream that requires your time invested in creating it. So if we've got multiple, we can start to help people build the residual component so that as they start to grow, they're able to increase their income while doing less production and spending less time into production, while giving them more flexibility with their family. Number three is then turning people into leaders. And this is a really cool concept because it's leverage of time, not just from me turning them into leaders, but them turning others into leaders. And what I mean by that, and the notion of, again, leaders create leaders, is that if you want to create leverage of time, you have to basically help people become a different or better version of you with similar skill sets at similar levels, and help them start to develop these qualities that are going to allow them to create leverage of their time. Because we've created leverage with their income in terms of the wealth as well as the production, but now it's time to increase the leverage of their time. And the best way to do that is to help other people become leaders. So that way, if you look, for example, we've got 30 leaders in our group that are all crushing it really well at they've met certain metrics and things like that. Well, if I can help those 30 develop the skill sets that I have, that means that if I go on vacation, then I have 30 people that can cover the activities that I would normally need to do. So my business doesn't stop, even though my time invested is stopping for a week or something like that. Well, the best part is if I've helped them do that, they can help others do that. So my goal is to help 1,000 people become leaders so that they can help others develop those skill sets to give those 1,000 people the opportunity to live life more flexibly. Now, the fourth one is building out scalable systems and processes that people can plug into to alleviate them from the time-sucking headaches and nonsense and stress that they would otherwise have to deal with if they had to create it themselves, or if they just didn't have it at all. So being an engineer, you probably see the tips of my degrees up there. Being an engineer, I'm very system and process driven. And I understand that if you want to scale, the best way to do it efficiently without driving yourself insane is to make sure that you've got systems and processes in place that, again, create leverage so that you don't have to repetitively do same tasks over and over and over and over. So what I focus most of my time on with my sponsor, Connor, is we create scalable systems, processes, trainings that agents can just plug into, and it alleviates them from where do I start, where do I go, what do I do next, how do I onboard, what type of ads do I run, what type of videos do I put out, how do I bring a partner on, how do I do this. We basically just create systems and processes every single month that resolve all the pain points and time-sucking headaches that agents would have to deal with otherwise. So now we're building out this massive, robust machine that people that partner with us just plug into, and now it takes care of all the headaches, but they accelerate all the benefits of what we've been able to create for them. And ultimately, when you look at these 4 steps, this is a main driver of why I decided to join eXp Realty, is because it was the only solution I could find that would allow me to help 1,000 real estate agents make $1 million per year. Because I can't do that in one market. If you're geographically restricted with a traditional franchise brokerage, you can't do it at a traditional franchise brokerage anyway, because when you start looking at it, you can't even create wealth. You've got one income stream. And then there's going to be people, again, there's always different ways to do it. There's going to be people that say, Mike, well, I could beat a traditional franchise brokerage and I can create wealth by investing in real estate. Cool. We ran down the math, and if in order to get the amount of residual or passive income that I had after my first, year-ish at EXP, you would need enough rental properties. In order to get them, you would need to invest about $9 million in investment properties. That's based on the 20% down payment in order to get the cash flow that I had after about 12, 16 months here. The craziest part is that if you want to work for active income at a traditional brokerage and then invest into real estate, if you want to double your portfolio, you've got to do it all over again. If I want to double mine, or if I want to help my partners, the people that are hopefully going to be many of the 1,000 that are going to make up the goal that I've been talking to you about, if I want to help anybody double their residual income, it's basically just wait a year. And based on the trajectory of where things are going, it within reason usually about doubles. So now you can take that residual and invest it into real estate. And that's a scalable play here. And that's what allows us to create wealth. So I just wanted to share that with you because, again, I think it's really interesting that I commonly get the question about checking out. And I wanted to help you reframe about why that basically is just meaning that people aren't setting their goals big enough and selfless enough. Number two, I wanted to kind of explain the different stages of goals in terms of short, mid, long, lifetime, and afterlife goals to help you create legacy, think about generational wealth, and doing something that's bigger than just yourself and impacting as many people as humanly possible with the skill sets that we work so hard to develop, and then breaking down my 4-step process. So if you have any questions or if you want to talk to me and share your goals, because that's one of the best ways to hit them is to share with other people, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear them. So hopefully this gives you a bit of a different frame of thought. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.